model, I had no time for my build. Finally, I started working again. So here we go.
Last September, my little boy Zach was born. Being a dad is awesome. Also, all the house repairs are finally done and we'll be closing on the house this month. On to the build update. This is an SCR 528 FM radio set that was one of several models used in the Sherman tank during World War II. It consists of a BC604 transmitter, a BC603 receiver, a CH264 spare parts chest, and is mounted on an FT237 rack. I started off building just a replica to hide my compressed air tank, but decided to make it operational. First step was to build a simple wooden box at approximately half scale. I then made a front panel and mounted it with a hinge. While the rear radio was separate components, I made mine as one unit for ease of construction. I used various bolts and screws along with LEDs and switches to fill in the panel. Several of the switches will work to control the amp and the portable radio. On the left side of the radio, I mounted a speaker and grill from a mini guitar amp. This is a 9-volt portable amplifier from First Act that I found. It will tie into a portable radio and will double as a speaker for an MP3 player. I made brackets and used pins to allow quick and easy access into the radio. Inside, I made a bracket using a piece of aluminum channel that will hold the compressed air tank up to 91 cubic inches. 2 Velcro straps will hold the tank in place. The portable radio is also mounted the same way. I skinned the radio box in an aluminum sheet. I used 3 separate pieces to mimic the radio's separate components. The front panel is also covered in aluminum sheet, and holes were drilled out for all the various components. I layered the aluminum sheet to mimic the parts chest door, and made dummy latches out of steel. As I did with my instrument panel, I designed decals that I made in CAD that mimic the plates on the radio. I recessed the dynamotor decal behind a piece of Lexan, which will act as a window and make the decal appear to be inside the radio. I aligned the other decals and punched out the holes. Another piece of Lexan was used to mimic the transmitter gauge, and metal screen was painted gold to mimic the receiver speaker. Once all the radio panels were painted, I glued them and the decals onto the radio box and front panel, and mounted all the various bolts and switches. Using what I had on hand, I mimicked the radio rack out of aluminum scrap. I made the design of the radio guards in CAD and scratched them onto aluminum sheet. I then drilled out the holes, cut the openings, and folded the guards into shape. They were then painted and mounted to finish the radio. The radio is wired with a triple 12-volt outlet to provide power for the amp and the portable radio charger. Operation of the radio includes the BC606 control box that I made in the last update. When the switch in the control box is set at radio, sound is sent to the helmet headset. On the interphone setting, sound is sent to the amp. I also installed a working volume control knob in the box. Flipping the transmitter switch turns on the portable radio. The speaker switch turns on the amp. The volume and tune knobs were remounted from the amp circuit board to the radio panel. To add some static, I turn on the sculpt switch. And to turn on the portable radio's charger, I flip the receiver tune operate switch to tune. This allows the radio to charge and operate on external power. The final part of the radio is the tank/other switch. The tank option allows operation of the portable radio. Switching to the other setting allows the amp to play music to the jack mounted on the front panel. I really need to get a new camera. Next up, we have the hull ventilators. They bring air into the tank while the turret vents will pull air out. The front ventilator is made using a piece of 2x6. I routed out a 3-inch through hole, a recess for the fan, and a channel for the air vent. The fan is wired through a mini toggle switch, then out the side of the 2x6 through a piece of threaded tube. The vent is adjustable to direct air 180 degrees and is held in place using a wing nut. I used a heat gun to bend the edge of a piece of 3-inch PVC pipe. The lip, along with the cover, should keep water out and draw air in. The pipe will be cut to length once the hull top plate is finished. Here it is painted and mounted. The weather is finally getting nice, so I can start projects that actually forward my build, but this radio was fun. I'll see you at the next update.